Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining our webinar, Silver Lining for Retailers, What Retail and Consumer Trends Signal for 2023. My name is Nicole Genscher, and I'm the head of research at GroundTruth. Shortly, I will be joined by Bethany Muths, the Chief Marketing and Customer Officer at Mizzen+Main, a retail brand specializing in performance menswear. I am also joined by my colleague, Jay Snyder, a senior account executive at GroundTruth, who will be moderating their chat today. We have a packed agenda for today. So first, I will provide an overview of the current state of the retail industry and walk through some insights GroundTruth has been tracking in the retail space. Then Jay will walk through strategies retail marketers can use based on those insights. And finally, for the main presentation, Jay and Bethany will have a fireside chat where they'll dive into all things Mizzen+Main. I'm super excited for that conversation as well. We will spend the last few minutes going over questions, so please feel free to drop any questions in the chat box as they come up throughout our time together, and we'll get those answered as best as we can at the end. So GroundTruth is a media company that turns real-world behavior into marketing that delivers real business results. In my day-to-day, I'm really focused on that real-world behavior part, as I spend most of my time in Excel combing through the 30 billion annual visits from consumers that we see on our platform. We anonymize and aggregate the visits to stores and points of interest to be able to understand current consumer trends in the physical world for the verticals we specialize in, and one of those being retail. So I'm hoping most of us have an interest in retail consumer trends. So my goal for the next 10 minutes or so is to shed a little bit of insights into what is impacting shoppers most this year and how retailers can capitalize on these trends in their marketing campaigns. Oops. Okay, so most of what is reported in the media in terms of retail shopping references a pending recession or inflation, which those things will undoubtedly result in a slower year for retail sales. eMarketer forecasts that total US retail sales will grow 3.3% in 2023 compared to last year's 8.1% growth. So while it may be especially tough for brands that rely on consumers' discretionary spending, consumers are continuing to spend, just more cautiously. We will see year-over-year growth in several categories. So that's what you see to the chart on the right, including food and beverage at 7% growth, apparel and accessories 6.7%, health and personal care, and which are all expected to remain strong due in part to inflation. So in regards to foot traffic, we looked at the change in market share among several retail categories from Q4 22 until Q1 23. Pharmacies saw the largest increase in share as the winter weather accelerated in those first few months of the year. Post-holiday season, we saw that discount and dollar retailers saw an increase in foot traffic as people started to again spend for themselves as opposed to purchasing gifts. These value-focused retailers will continue to benefit from consumers trading down and purchasing the store brand versions of items on their shopping lists. The discount and off-price brands are also the retailers that are opening up hundreds of store locations this year during these uncertain times. And so we can all probably conceptualize the opportunity for marketers when you're opening new stores and trying to drive foot traffic to them. But what about when one of the largest home goods retailers closes its doors? So I'm sure you're all aware that Bed Bath & Beyond is closing its locations. So I want to take you through an example using this brand on the importance of using real-world behaviors to understand key shopping audiences. So as a first step, when we first heard the news a few months ago about all the store closures, we wondered, well, what brands are in the best position right off the bat to take those customers? So we looked at shoppers to all Bed Bath & Beyond locations nationwide to see what other locations they frequent, and we came up with this list. None of this may surprise you since these are some of the largest home good retailers in the world, but we can see that 61% of Bed Bath & Beyond shoppers also shop at Walmart. Further down the list, you see 23% also frequent the Home Depot, and 16% also go to Costco down at the bottom of the list. Of course, this list could also be pulled on a state or even a zip code level, which would certainly only be more helpful if you were looking to run super targeted marketing campaigns. So let's look at a Bed Bath & Beyond location in Durham, North Carolina. This screenshot is pulled from our discovery platform, where we blueprint exact store locations, which you can see here in green, and the lot around them, which is the orange shape. You can see in this example, there's a Kohl's right next door and a Home Depot in the same retail block. Now, if you went based on proximity, you would assume the Bed Bath & Beyond customers would maybe just go right next door to Kohl's now for their home goods. But based on our data, Kohl's didn't even make that top list. And a quarter of Bed Bath & Beyond shoppers also go to the Home Depot. So if I were a marketer for Kohl's, I would probably want to do some direct marketing campaigns targeting those customers and not just assume they'll migrate just next door. So what else is really cool about our discovery platform is you can switch the view to see the different trade areas or neighborhoods that people visit your store location from. So here's a screenshot of the Bed Bath & Beyond high indexing trade areas, with the areas in red being the highest affinity and the yellow the lowest. If you compare it on the next slide to the whole Kohl's trade areas, it's nearly exactly the same aside from a few small neighborhoods. But again, if I were a marketer for Kohl's, these are the exact areas I'm serving media to if I wanted to grab some of that foot traffic. And of course, this same logic can be used for small businesses. It's just about understanding audiences over just proximity. And the most recent news regarding Bed Bath & Beyond is that the Container Store and Big Lots are accepting their famous 20% coupons that we all have 1,000 expired ones of for a limited time. I just pulled the data today to see if that promotion actually worked. And on the Saturday after the Container Store and Big Lots announced they were accepting the coupons, Big Lots saw a 66% increase in foot traffic, and the Container Store saw an 83% increase in foot traffic, which is an average of about 40% higher than the previous 3 Saturdays in April. So that's just another great example of how to maximize on some of these unfortunate store closings. So pivoting a little bit, another example of using audience insights for better marketing is something we pulled for our latest retail report, which looked at the difference in audience between a brand's regular store versus its outlet stores. So we looked at Nordstrom versus Nordstrom Racks, the Nike factory store versus regular Nike stores, and so on, to see the audience profiles of each. We found that baby boomers are 13% more likely to be seen at outlet locations, while international travelers are 26% more likely to pay retail price. NBA enthusiasts want the newest Nikes, and casino goers apparently lost all their money at the casino and are budget shopping at the outlets. So it's hard to talk about retail consumer trends without mentioning holidays. They're basically the dates that retail marketers live and die by. But besides the obvious Black Friday and Christmas, which holidays drive the most foot traffic? We looked at most major holidays last year and ranked the holidays from highest foot traffic increases to lowest. And you'd maybe be surprised to see Valentine's Day so high up on the list, with an average increase of 53% for that holiday. Labor Day weekend came in at the lowest, but still saw a 23% increase in foot traffic. So marketers can be extremely strategic with these dates, and it feels as though marketing starts for these holidays earlier and earlier each year. So we've been talking a lot about foot traffic because that's what we specialize in. But the last point to be made that is also hard to ignore is the true convergence between the physical and digital, and the opportunities that can result from giving customers an amazing experience with both. Whether it's going in store before buying online or vice versa, consumers truly want the option of both. As a digitally native brand, I know Mizzen+Main has various store concepts that provide a unique in-person experience so customers can really be immersed with their brand and product. So I'm hoping to hear a little bit about that later in the chat with Bethany. So that takes me to the end, and I'll leave you with a roundup of key takeaways and opportunities for retailers. Maximize new store openings and closings. Build accurate audience personas and know your true customers along with your competitors. Tap into key shopping seasons and moments because that's where the foot traffic and the dollars are. And lastly, do your best at bridging the gap between bricks and clicks by making the experience seamless for shoppers, regardless of where they end up. That's all I have for today. If you'd like to see more insights on the retail space or various other categories, we're constantly putting out new blogs, reports, infographics. Please head to groundtruth.com/insights. Thank you for your time. I'll now pass the mic over to Jay. Please take it away.
Hey, Evelyn, I'm having problems starting my camera. If you could turn that on, that'd be great. Perfect. Hi, everyone. So GroundTruth is a location targeting media company that takes real-world behaviors and turns them into real business results. We know the path to purchase is no longer linear. Our tech allows us to build key audiences and activate precise targeting to reach consumers along their journey on any screen. So how do we do it? So as a quick high-level overview, we have a proprietary mapping technology called Blueprints that does just that. It creates blueprints of locations so that we can contextualize mobile location data into the real world. These maps then allow us to build accurate audiences from visitors that we can use for real-time targeting or targeting based on historical patterns and ultimately measure if they have converted. This is a powerful data set unique to GroundTruth that helps us stand apart from the competition. We also like to tout that we're the first and only ad tech provider to have MRC accreditations for our place, location, and visitation data sets. This third-party validation reflects our longstanding commitment to sourcing quality, privacy-compliant data, and powering our solutions with verified precision. So how do we use this for targeting? We can activate our audiences in 3 ways: where they are now, like when they're within a set proximity of your stores or on premise of a retail center or shopping mall; where they've been in the past, such as competitor loyalists, golf courses, luxury retailers; and also the real-time weather that they're experiencing. Say you're a retailer wanting to move rain boots, what better time to activate when wet weather is in the forecast? These targeting tactics can be leveraged for activation with the key retail initiatives Nicole touched on earlier. Combining our high intent audiences with precise targeting has proven to be highly effective for retailers for a variety of needs. A few common strategies we are tapped for include an always on approach, driving visits in store or online, launching successful new store openings, finding new shoppers that align with your brand or stealing share from competitors, promoting seasonal tent poles, and more. No matter what your needs are, we probably have a playbook for it. Additionally, GroundTruth is the first location company to offer a pay-for-performance model called cost per visit. This is a natural fit for retailers to drive foot traffic for seasonal moments. You tell us the target, we do an internal analysis to determine how much it will cost to drive that customer to your store, and you pay for the visits that we observe from impressed users. We offer different pricing models, but the 2 most common would be to include loyalists, so reminding current customers to come back, and exclude loyalists, focusing solely on new customer acquisition. This takes the guesswork out of a CPM-based buy and allows us to drive visits at an agreed-upon price. So, in summary, GroundTruth can help retailers reach the right audiences at the right times, whether it's branded to core consumers, connecting with competitor loyalists, promoting a new store opening, or driving incremental visits in store or online. We have you covered. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest today, Bethany Muse of Mizzen+Main. Hi, Bethany.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. So if you don't mind, would you just give us a quick overview of your stellar background in marketing?
Sure. Well, I didn't grow up as the traditional retail marketer, I would say. I started my background at Bloomingdale's in their executive training program. So I really was thinking my entire life I would be a buyer at GMM and move up that path. The reason really I wanted to be in buying or be in merchandising is just the connection that consumers have with product and how it makes them feel when they put on their favorite shirt or pair of shoes or jeans. So at that point early on, you could put amazing product in stores and the consumer would find it through discovery for shopping in brick and mortar. And then kind of the .com boom happened, and I quickly realized that you needed the story behind the product. And then really kind of pivoted my career into marketing, working very hands-on with startups, learning from the ground up how to do my own Facebook audiences, which was very humbling at that point in my career, but then kind of moved up through a variety of different companies, a footwear brand, a teen apparel brand, and then ultimately ended up at Mizzen+Main in the marketing space, really primarily to tell a story to the consumer, which is kind of why I started, just a different angle.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So how has Mizzen's marketing strategy evolved over the past 10 years since they've been in business, and what have you found to be most effective in your time there?
Oh my gosh, like I'm sure with everyone, marketing changes every single day, and it's a Herculean effort to keep up with meta changes or GA4 or whatever new thing is coming out. I would say in the early days of Mizzen, started in the D2C boom. So at that point, like anyone really could create a Facebook or a shop on Shopify, start an e-commerce business, and then start advertising via Facebook. So that's really how we started. Also, we had a founder who had a challenge, and he was like, I want to solve my challenge of not sweating through my dress shirt. And we've evolved through many marketing campaigns since then. We worked with a lot of athletes in the beginning. We obviously spend a lot of time and money on Facebook, but I would say over the last 3 years, the real point for us has been diversifying our media. Going where the guy is at, working with someone like you guys with at GroundTruth. If he's visiting a golf course, we like to target him there. So we also do quite a bit of direct mail pieces. We know our guy is very interested in listening to other founders or athletes, so we advertise quite a bit on podcasts. So I would say now the name of the game is diversifying media, and really just listening and going to where he is, and then advertising Mizzen+Main there.
That's great. I can say, from personal experience of working with you guys, the persona that you clearly put a lot of time and effort into building of your core customer has done wonders for your marketing strategy. In terms of that strategy, what are some of the media mix solutions that have worked the best for you?
It's funny. It's a variety of different things. If you would look at the pure data and analytics behind it, you would probably say you guys shouldn't be advertising here. But we get a lot of word of mouth feedback from the guy who listens to Conan O'Brien. And so I guess like my advice to the listeners would be do a healthy balance of, yes, this definitely gives me a return on investment and I can quantify this very easily through the analytics coming back. But I would also say, again, going back to listening to your consumer, we know our guy likes podcasts. He loves Conan O'Brien, and maybe the data isn't telling us that, yes, we should double down and advertise more on Conan O'Brien, but it's part of kind of that halo effect of top of funnel advertising that sometimes like you can't necessarily completely prove out that media is working, but if you don't test and learn, you would never know, and that could be actually a viable media in kind of the guy's what he's listening to or what he's reading.
Got it. And in terms of the state of the world, obviously everybody's been through a lot these past few years. How has that strategy shifted with the emergence of COVID? And now, as of a couple of days ago, that emergency is over. So what's changed and what looks to be on the horizon?
I mean, I feel like there's always another emergency coming out, so it's always challenging. But I would say, look, like coming out of COVID, or like even during COVID, I wasn't with Mizzen, but a lot of brands were going after the athleisure trend. Everyone was, in loungewear and in sweatpants, and you saw a lot of new brands coming onto the market. And there was a point during that where our senior leadership said, should we be going into more of the athleisure? Like, is that the direction Mizzen should be? And really, we went back and looked at the data and what is our customer telling us? And for our guy, he said, I like to dress up on my Zooms. I like to wear a collared shirt. I like to still go, be out on date night. I don't always want to wear loungewear. So we've still went down the path of performance menswear and not so much of the athleisure trend. And that really has proved very successful for us. He's coming to us looking for that. We're building future products for his more dressier wardrobe. But I would say, if you would have at mid or beginning of pandemic, that might not have been such easy decision to make, but I'm glad we stuck with it, and I'm glad we kind of stayed to our roots and really listened to our core consumer.
Sure. Well, I can speak to personal experience that wearing your collared shirts makes me feel like I'm in loungewear. So they kind of go hand in hand at times.
Yeah, so they're stretchy. I hear we don't have a Mizzen women's line, but yes, so they're very comfortable.
So switching gears to some of your seasonal campaigns and whatnot, how do those seasonal campaigns to your evergreen and always on strategies?
Well, I would say right now we have a really fun summer campaign. It's called Bring Back Male Friendships. And I mean, what more can bring back a male friendship but some guys out on the golf course hitting a little round ball around the greens. So we're really focusing on his golf game and camaraderie with his friends for summer. So we kicked it off actually with a sweepstakes that Mizzen+Main would sponsor their golf trip. Sponsor not in, we'll pay for your lodging and everything, but we will outfit you and give you swag. We didn't really have an expectation of what it could result in, but we actually got 6,500 entries, and the entries required a lot of first party data, which was amazing. We did paid ads around the entries. The paid ads, he would go to a landing page and then enter in his information. So really, we're not selling him anything, but then he actually went to the website and purchased. So actually his purchase outweighed or overpowered my spend on the ads, which was great. So a lot of like interesting things happen out of that. And then we're also doing some events around Bring Back Male Friendship. So it's really kind of one of our most fun campaigns, I think, that we've done, and it'll span all summer. Just talking about how important it is for guys to have a network for their own, personal and professional growth, that they have friends that they trust and rely on, and like, what does that mean for guys? And for us at Mizzen, it's not always about trying to sell him something. It's, again, like sort of like what you said, Jay. It's like we want him to feel great, and like whether that's being with his friends and feeling great with his friends, but also like wearing something that really makes him feel great also.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. So as a primary online direct consumer brand with a few brick and mortars, how do you consider, or who do you consider your biggest competitors? As a second question on that, how is Mizzen standing out?
Yeah, we have 6 brick and mortar stores right now. We're about to open our 7th next week, which is so exciting, in South Lake, so another Texas location. And then we have another couple more planned for this year. I think brick and mortar, whether it's your own stores, or whether it's a wholesale partner, is very important, because the consumer can go in your own store and experience your brand, like how you want to show up to the consumer and get a full brand experience. But then also in a key wholesale partner like a Nordstrom, or we do a pretty big business with Dillard's and Scheels. They can actually touch and feel the product and also get exposure to your brand, just slightly different. So I think for us, like, it's growing both of those things, not either. So growing both the brick and mortar, your own stores, and growing in with our key, our wholesale partners. So it will continue to be a strong strategy for Mizzen. We want to grow both digitally and then obviously the physical component.
Great. And which brands out there would you look to as and consider as trailblazers?
I mean, look, like, everyone loves Viore right now. Our customer wears Viore. I think their product looks great also. So I would say they're probably like definitely one to watch. It's really interesting what's happening in like the beverage space. A lot of the non-alcoholic, whether it's beers or just drinks in general, are really kind of emerging as this like healthy lifestyle, kind of taking over. I don't know. I would say, like, in apparel, I read a lot, and it's always very interesting to see like what brands are doing, who they're marketing to, what they have to say. So I, not one in particular, but I like to watch them all.
Awesome. Well, everybody here at GroundTruth, we certainly appreciate what Mizzen is doing, and we look to you guys as trailblazers. So I think that's all the questions that I have for you. We can open it up to some Q&A here. If anybody has any questions for Bethany or myself, feel free to pop them in the chat. First question, will we get the presentation? Certainly, I can get you that presentation. Feel free to reach out to an email address that you'll see on the screen here whenever we're closing out, and we can certainly help you with those insights, or if there are unique insights that you're looking for that are particular to your brand, we'd be happy to pull them for you. Anybody else? Geez, quiet group today.
Mhm.
Well, looks like we can wrap this early if there are no more questions. Bethany, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom.
Great. Thanks.
Nicole, thank you for the retail trends and the insights that you provided. For more information, please reach out to the email on screen. Thank you for attending, everybody, and have a great day.